Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into a really quite disturbing story. You shared some online articles, a YouTube transcript, all detailing the lives and ultimately the tragic end of Trent and Savannah Pascal.
Yeah, it's a heavy one. And our goal today is to sort of piece together what happened, look for those, warning signs.
Exactly, to try and understand the complexities. You wanted clarity, and that's what we're aiming for.
It really shines a light on, well, the hidden realities that can exist behind closed doors, doesn't it? The sources give us different viewpoints.
They do. Okay, so let's start with the key people. We have Savannah, who sounds like a really compassionate young woman, found her calling in mortuary service.
Right. And then Trent, her older husband, much older, and as it turns out, with a very volatile side hidden beneath the surface.
Yeah. The initial picture, especially from some YouTube stuff, was this kind of happy family vibe. But the title of that coffeehouse crime video, Family YouTuber to Killer, really sets a stark tone right away.
It certainly does. It grabs your attention and points to that jarring contrast.
So Savannah, born August 22, 1990, grew up in Pasadena, Texas. Sounds like she had a pretty active childhood. Lots of hobbies.
Yeah, gymnastics, dance, bowling even. Made it to the state finals in bowling, apparently.
Wow. But her favorite thing seems to have been horseback riding with her dad.
Mm-hmm. And she had this real compassionate streak, loved animals, always rescuing them. That fits with her later career path, too, in a way.
It does. There's also mention of a really positive experience at a church camp she called Gonzo.
Right, that detail about Gonzo and her compassion, it paints a picture of someone who really valued kindness and connection.
Definitely. She graduated high school in 2008, was in marching band. Seemed pretty involved.
And initially thought about being a vet, which again ties into that caring side.
But then she shifted, did some culinary school after a work experience changed her mind.
And life threw some curves early on. She became a single mom at 19 to her son, William.
Right. Then, fast forward a bit, she's 22, meets Trent in a grocery store. He's 40.
Yeah, quite the age gap. He's described as, confident, successful business owner, charming, tall.
Maybe seemed like a stable father figure type, which could have been appealing, as a young single mother.
It could well have been. But that age difference, nearly 2 decades, it does stand out immediately. Friends apparently had concerns.
I bet. And things move fast. Married within months.
Wow. Yeah, very quick. And then their daughter, Mackenzie, was born about a year later.
So publicly, they're projecting this happy American family image. Savannah's pursuing her career in mortuary service, too, which she seemed passionate about.
But behind that facade, things weren't so rosy. The relationship started fraying. Trent had pretty extreme anger issues, apparently.
And this tendency to just cut family members out of his life, like completely. No warning.
That's a major red flag right there. That kind of volatility and social isolation. Plus, neighbors reported hearing frequent arguments.
Yeah, that's never a good sign. Suggests a pattern, right?
Absolutely. And then there's the money thing. He was apparently really paranoid, didn't trust banks, kept all their cash at home.
Which could be what? Tax evasion? Or just pure control?
Could be either, or both. It definitely points to paranoia and wanting to operate outside normal systems. It's controlling.
And Savannah's mother found out he had a criminal history, theft charges.
Yes, but Savannah, it seems, believed he'd changed, wanted to believe the best.
Which is understandable, I suppose. Now let's talk about the YouTube presence. Trent started a channel years before, posting family stuff.
Right, the first one mentioned is from 2014, a baby laughing at bubbles. Seems innocent enough.
He posted vlogs of holidays, trips, but also weird stuff like exploding bottles and GoPro grips.
A bit random, yeah. But in the videos, he apparently came across as calm, narrated them. Got over 200,000 views eventually.
He even had another channel, Big Money Tea, though that one's gone now.
And Savannah had channels too, right? A makeup tutorial from 2017?
Yeah, almost 4,000 views on that one. And another from 2013 showing Trent as a kid, like back in 1987.
So they were both engaged with sharing online, just in different ways. But that contrast between the online image and the reported reality is stark.
It really is. Okay, so as Savannah gets more involved in her mortuary studies and work, things seem to get darker. Financially, it was tight for her while studying
And Trent apparently used that. He made her hand over all her earnings.
and gave her an allowance, like a child.
Pretty much. All the
Yeah.
money stayed in the house under his control. It's classic financial abuse, really. A way to limit her independence.
And with her busy studying and working, they weren't spending much time together as a couple.
which seems to have fueled his paranoia. He got obsessed with the idea she was cheating, probably stemming from his own insecurities about the age gap.
Instead of dealing with his feelings, he projected it all onto her.
Exactly. Used it as an excuse to control her more. The arguments got worse, more aggressive,
She started calling her mom for support.
which, sadly, seemed to backfire. Trent tried to drive a wedge there, even called the mom himself to give his side, manipulate the narrative.
Ugh. Okay, so then we get to around 2019, 2020. There's a shift.
Yeah, Savannah's career really takes off. The pandemic actually increased demand in her field, so she's doing well, earning more.
And Trent, who was the main breadwinner before, he's home more, maybe fewer contracts.
Right. This role reversal seemed to really mess with him, made his paranoia even worse.
He started telling her friends, her family, that he thought she was cheating. No proof, just suspicion.
It was likely a tactic to isolate her, maybe get people on his side. His mental state was clearly deteriorating.
Then came the security cameras all over the house.
And demanding she share her location 24/7. Classic obsessive control.
He even got arrested for stealing a vehicle and blamed her. Said he felt pressured to provide.
It's just, wow, complete lack of responsibility, pure manipulation.
So, understandably, Savannah decides she wants a divorce.
And even though he'd apparently suggested it before, when she actually moves towards it, he completely loses it. He's enraged.
And then they found out he'd secretly put audio recorders around the house.
Yeah. Furious she was planning to leave. It's a massive invasion of privacy, total disrespect. It wasn't about the relationship, it was about his control.
Which leads us to that awful day, October 21st, 2020. Trent's birthday.
Yeah. Savannah actually posted a birthday message for him on Facebook, trying to keep the peace, it sounds like, maybe after a bad reaction the year before.
She was even planning a surprise party for him later.
But that morning, around 10 a.m., he calls her. And it's bad.
Furious, accusing her of cheating again. And then he threatened her life. Said he had a gun, a bullet with her name on it. Chilling.
It's a terrifying escalation, a direct death threat. She knew the danger.
Absolutely. She rushes home with her mother, Shirley. A huge argument breaks out.
So loud, the neighbors called the police. That tells you how bad it was.
The police arrive. See, Trent is just completely unhinged with these baseless accusations.
Right. They order him to leave for 24 hours.
So Savannah and her mom decide to go get the kids from school, maybe get some breathing room.
But Trent doesn't stay away. He goes back to the house, defies the police order.
And that's when he records that video. The one addressed mainly to his daughter, Mackenzie.
It's incredibly disturbing. Shows his mindset just before, still blaming Savannah, feeling sorry for himself, worrying about how he looks.
Professes love for the kids, but blames their mom for everything. Mentions the audio recordings again.
Justifying his rage.
Yeah.
Then the video cuts off.
Because Savannah got home. He was hiding. In the master bathroom, behind the shower curtain.
Waiting. Shirley, the mom, went in first.
And he jumps out. Says he's going to kill her, then kill Savannah.
God. Shirley managed to get away, tried to warn Savannah.
But Trent shot Savannah. Twice. In the abdomen.
Fatal wounds.
Yeah.
And immediately after, he calls Savannah's Aunt Sharon and confesses.
Just tells her he killed Savannah. The cruelty is unbelievable.
It's horrifying. The premeditation, the hiding, the threat, the act itself, then the call. It's the violent endpoint of all that escalating control and rage.
Police and paramedics arrive, rush her to the hospital, but it was too late. She was pronounced dead.
And his video surfaces online, just out there.
Meanwhile, Trent flees, makes it to Houston. Police find his car.
They try to arrest him in a Walmart parking lot. He pulls a gun.
And gets shot by deputies.
I bet he survives.
Survives, yeah. Gets charged with murder, assault, evasion, possession, a whole list.
But then his parents bail him out. $550,000.
Which must have been just devastating for Savannah's family, seeing him released after all that.
And this is where the system seems to just break down. The ankle monitor.
Right. Apparently, because his ankle was swollen when they fitted it, he could just take it off.
Pretty much. Data later showed it was on the charger at home, like over 90% of the time.
So he wasn't being monitored at all, effectively. He was just free.
Posting about his travels on social media
Well,
while he's supposed to be on house arrest. Basically, it's outrageous.
imagine how Savannah's family felt. Seeing that, it's a massive failure of the monitoring system. Incredibly painful for them.
Then, April 2021, about 6 months after the murder, he takes the monitor off again, goes to a car dealership.
And steals a car at knife point.
Yeah.
Becomes a fugitive,
Yeah.
just disappears. Yeah. He ends up living as a nomad, basically. In Missouri, in an RV, with a new partner, Katherine Johnson. Uses a fake name, Trevor Stevenson.
For 8 months. And she had no idea who he really was.
None. Until New Year's Eve 2021, she finds his real wallet, discovers his true identity.
And immediately calls the police. She must have been terrified, betrayed.
Absolutely. So January 1st, 2022, police track him down, surround his van in Ocala, Florida.
But before they can arrest him, he dies by suicide inside the van.
So no trial. No legal justice for Savannah's family in that sense.
A really bleak end. And tragically, Katherine Johnson, the woman he was with, she apparently felt responsible somehow.
And she passed away less than a year later. Cause unknown, but people speculate suicide. It's just ripple effects of tragedy.
Yeah, the trauma expended so far. She was another victim in a way.
When you hear Savannah's friends talk about her, kind, compassionate, graceful, beautiful, hardworking, joyful, inclusive, just full of love.
Her kids were everything to her, and she loved her career in funeral service, felt it was her calling.
She was an organ and tissue donor, too, helping others even after.
Such a contrast to the violence that ended her life. Her mother, Shirley, is now advocating for change, right? Stricter bond rules, better justice.
Yeah, highlighting that ankle monitor failure specifically. And the YouTube video you shared ends by pointing out how deceptive social media can be.
Which this case illustrates chillingly. The curated image versus the horrific reality.
So looking back at this whole deep dive, the journey from that online facade to this awful violence, several things really stand out, don't they?
Definitely. First, recognizing those red flags early on. The jealousy, the control, the anger, the isolation.
They're often there, even if subtle at first. Second, that huge gap between public image, especially online, and private reality.
Yeah, you just never know what's going on beneath the surface. And third, the failures in the justice system here, allowing him to be out, poorly monitored.
With catastrophic results. It's a stark reminder of how control can escalate, how small things can build towards this.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What needs to change societally? How can we better protect people in these situations? How can the justice system do better?
And it leaves you wondering how many other seemingly normal situations might be hiding that same potential for tragedy.